everybody, and welcome to the Cypress Hollow Zoo. Our zoo is expanding quite rapidly. I added this new goat shelter. I moved it over just to cover that big blank wall. And then of course the rehabilitation areas are doing wonderfully. And today we are focusing on this area right here. I've already done the pathway and the building layout, but we're gonna turn it into a little blue penguin paradise. So if that's the kind of thing you like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below of penguins. So you can see I fiddled with the pathway for a while, and I did not film that part just because it was taking so long to get it exactly the way I wanted, with the stairs going down to the underwater viewing area. This area we're working on right here is going to be an elevator, or so it's going to appear to be an elevator. Really it's just a set of stairs that the guests will be able to go through the wall and come out on top. We're going to work on our elevator doors. This will be the kind of ground level entrance, and then we'll have one just slightly below this one and one floor up. And to sell the idea of it being an elevator, we're of course going to have to do the up and down button pad that you see on pretty much every elevator. And we're just going to do that with these little lights and sink them in so that they're not quite as big. And then we're going to recolor them white and blue just for the little blue penguins. We're going to add our door down here. Then we're going to work on the roof and get this all figured out. I'm not going to do pathways around the entire thing just because I only want the guests to be looking at the blue penguins on the other side. But to hide this path, we're just going to separate it from the group and raise it up. Then we're going to add a staircase on the outside of the building so that the guests have another way to access the rooftop viewing area. And now it's time to work on our main terrain. So this will be the raised portion that the penguins will be able to walk around on, slightly lower than eye level from the rooftop. And then we're going to make a backstage area utilizing some staff buildings. We needed more keeper huts and veterinary clinics in our zoo, so we're just going to stack these on top of each other and make a building that will blend in with the background. And yes, I did end up making a concrete cube. Now we're going to work on our underwater area. So we're going to lower this down to the same level as the viewing area, just cutting through the terrain here and taking a look, and that looks pretty good to me. We're going to steal some of these rocks from our Flamingo Falls area to keep a consistent background, and we're just going to scatter these all the way around the backdrop. Little penguins live in pretty rocky beaches in Australia and around Oceania, so I figured that this backdrop would be perfect for them. I did end up making the entire habitat floor rocks, which is why I always put the animal in first before I do terrain work, because I always think I know and I end up not knowing. So yeah, put your animals in first and then do terrain. We're adding in our keeper gate and then blending in with some extra rocks. With that completed, it's time to move on to our barrier. The barrier is pretty straightforward, just going around the rock circumference and then using glass around this viewing area, and then connecting it all the way back around to the habitat gate. We're going to fill our habitat with water just to see where our levels are at, just in time for our penguins to arrive. And I absolutely love these guys. I know I've said that for probably every animal in Planet Zoo, but I just love the way these little guys waddle and their coloration and just everything about them. But let's get back to the build. We're gonna get rid of all the rock that I put in this habitat and replace it with sand on both the shoreline and underwater. These guys really love their sand, so you can really not overdo it with them. And then we're gonna add some jetties just to bring them up to the forefront of the habitat so that the upper viewing area can get a better glimpse of our penguins, since this habitat is rather large for them. We're adding in some enrichment as well as these dens. They like to kind of burrow in little rock caves and stuff along the beach, so we're just going to add in a couple and then pile up some rocks to make it look like a more natural setting along the cliffside of Australia or somewhere. We're gonna add in a couple large rocks into the forefront of the land area just for a little bit of privacy. And then we're on to the mesh. I wasn't originally gonna do mesh over the top of this, but then I started thinking about predators that could be in the area, such as hawks, eagles, and other flying animals picking up the little penguins and eating them. So I didn't want that to happen. So we're gonna cover this. I've seen zoos in real life have covers over their penguin habitats. Not all of them, but some of them. We're just gonna reinforce it with this wire going across, and we're gonna add another one. And then to sell the attachment on this side, we're going to create these concrete blocks that will be holding the wire up and give it a little more structural integrity and beefy look, as well as these little connection points on the building. With that all figured out, it's time to add just a little bit more cover for these penguins. I see this a lot in zoos, just kind of a tarp over top. The Cincinnati Zoo, which is my local zoo, has tarps across their penguin habitat, and it looks very nice. And also shout out to whoever on the Frontier team made these ropes a snap position to the corners. They're the real one. It made it so much easier, and I've done this in the past and manually aligned it. So having the snap to position on that was amazing. We're gonna add in our foliage. We're not gonna overcrowd it, but we are gonna add these little pops of color, as well as some tall grass just kind of scattered about. It is a beach, so there's not gonna be too much vegetation. We're gonna add some rocks to this hill just to give it a little bit more belief that it's able to hold up on its own. And to finish off the habitat, we're gonna add in some underwater grass. For the roof, we're going to add in some planters and some skylights, just to give some more natural light to this dark and dingy building. We're gonna add in some wood just to keep it consistent around the habitat, and then I added this nice little decorative door. Moving on to the interior of our underwater viewing area, we're gonna add in plenty of fans because we are in a humid climate. People are gonna wanna come here to cool off. So we're gonna add in a nice row of fans, and I'm just lining them up on the ground so I can flip them over and they'll all be in alignment. We're gonna add in a bathroom as well. Our zoo is expanding and we only had one bathroom, so we're just gonna add another one over here. It's a good kind of distance away from the other one, so it was about time we added a second bathroom. Moving on, we're gonna add an ice cream stand, which I think really fits the vibe of our zoo, which is a backyard zoo. And when people think about penguins, they often think cold climates, so cold and ice cream, even though these penguins live in Australia, where it's a lot warmer than most people would probably think for penguins. We're gonna add in a couple signs to advertise our ice cream, and then we're gonna move on to the railing for the stair section of our underwater viewing area. So we're just gonna use these concrete angle pieces and then the rectangle pieces just to fill in this gap right here. And then we'll duplicate them all the way across to fill in those gaps. This area over here will just be a kind of upper viewing area. You can get closer but still see the whole exhibit, which the view from the top of the stairs is really nice. You can see pretty much the whole habitat from that angle. Moving on, we're going to add some guest education. We're gonna add in these penguin feet, just so people can kind of interact with this board a little bit, give a element of touch to the habitat, and then we're gonna hide the penguins sticking out into the habitat with this concrete wall. We're also going to be coloring the ice cream shop a nice pink. The concrete wall colored pink looked disgusting, so we're going to be changing it out for plaster. And then we're going to do the same for the bathrooms and color it blue. So the colors are the blue penguin with their pink little feet. Now that we have the interior all done, we're just going to take a quick little walk through to show you everything. We have a little penguin diorama down there, as well as the 2 den cameras above it, just so people can see them when they're hiding in their den. Moving on to the backstage, we're just going to kind of close off an area that's for staff only with the fake rock walls. I did measure it to make sure that a car could fit back here, just in case they need to get equipment or supplies back to the backstaging area. Now it's time to work on the main focus of this habitat, which is the big lighthouse. This habitat will be representative of being on the coast of Australia, so what better way to show you're on the coast than a lighthouse? So we're just rotating this around to make the lighthouse balcony, and then we're going to move it over and move it to the top of our building. We're then going to work on the glass light portion of our lighthouse, just rotating that around the clay block, and then keeping it simple with a tiled roof, which we'll color in our nice dark green branded color. And to symbolize that this is a penguin habitat, we're going to add a penguin to the top of the building. And with that, our lighthouse is complete, and I believe that makes it time for the end cinematic. Here's a closer look at our lighthouse, and then interior with our education board, as well as our happy little penguins waddling all around their habitat, and swimming around in front of the underwater viewing area. Alright, thank you all for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you next time at the Cypress Hollow Zoo. Goodbye!